everybody, it's Dr. Joe, and today I'm going to show you some real-time stretches for my office series that you can do in your office to get your move back, but you can do it anywhere as well. So let's get started. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you click down here. So let's get our move back. Upper trap stretch. And here we go. So as you put your hand down to keep that shoulder down, look straight ahead and just take your hand and pull your head over, almost like you're trying to take that ear to your shoulder. So not shoulder to your ear, you're not trying to bring it up, you're just keeping it nice and relaxed. But again, make sure that your head is in a nice neutral position as you pull it over. And you don't want it to be painful. You don't want to pull so hard that you can't hold it for that 30 seconds. All right, so we're going to take a little break. I like switching sides just because then it gives the other side a little bit of a break. So sitting on the right side now, and then taking your hand and just pulling it over on that side. And you should feel the stretch kind of here, down into the back of the neck a little bit. It might go all the way out into the shoulder, but again, you want it to be comfortable. I always call stretching like a good hurt. It hurts so good kind of feeling, because you don't want it to be painful, because then most likely you're stretching too hard on that muscle. And when you stretch too hard, your muscles are going to fight back. So once they start fighting back, then you're just kind of fighting that muscle and trying to stretch it, and it's pulling back and you're not getting a very good stretch. So now let's go back to this side and then just hold. Nice stretch there. If you feel like just the pull with your hand is too much, you don't even have to do that part. You can just turn your head over to the side, and I'm still feeling that stretch right through up in there. And so you have three parts of the trap: upper trap, middle trap, and the lower trap. So this is that upper part that connects with the neck, and that trap muscle looks like a diamond on the back. So that's how it looks. So then another little break. And if you want to kind of wiggle out your shoulders during the rest break, you can. You don't have to, but sometimes that stretching for a long period, you want to kind of shake it out. And then switch back over to this side, getting that nice stretch and hold. Sometimes you might get a little pop in your neck when you're stretching it over. That's okay as long as it's not painful. That's just sometimes you're readjusting your spine a little bit, that cervical spine. So as long as it's not painful, it's okay. But if it's a painful pop, then you definitely want to stop. This is just a general stretch to get everything nice and loosened up. So we'll have one more on each side, taking that little break, getting the hand over on this side, and then getting that nice gentle pull over this way. And again, you can see, try and keep that head up like this. So it's not the chin down this way, it's not up this way. You want it in that nice neutral position when you're pulling it over. Nice and relaxed muscles. And usually you feel most of the stretch right in here.
3, 2, 1, left.
If you happen to feel any numbness, tingling going down your arms when you're doing this, again, you might be pulling just a little bit too hard, or you might have some nerves kind of being pinched. So you might want to back off that a little bit and get it checked out if you're getting something like that. So this is the last one, just nice big stretch. Some people like to do some deep breathing while they're stretching, that's fine, but just try and kind of keep a normal pattern. You don't want to hold your breath while you're stretching. You just want some nice deep breaths while you're stretching. This is more to relax the muscles, so you're trying to relax that whole body. Pec stretch. So with the pec stretch, you're going to take your hands, clasp them behind your back, and you're going to push down and out, and then push your chest forward. So just holding that stretch right there. And with stretches, they shouldn't be painful. So if you're feeling some pain in the chest area, take a little bit of pressure off of it and don't push down quite as hard. You should feel that right through the front here in that pec area, and just holding that stretch for 30 seconds. and then take a little 10-second break. So right up in here is where you should feel it. If you have some issues where the nerve is getting pressed on, you might feel a little bit of tingling while you're doing this stretch. So again, pushing down and out and pushing your chest forward. Try and keep your head and neck relaxed, kind of in a neutral position, so you're not pushing out like that. I tend to do that. Try and relax your neck and head area. But if you feel some of that tingling, that's probably just because you're stretching that muscle and putting a little bit of pressure on the nerve. So hopefully each time you do that, it will get better. But if it doesn't, then you probably want to hold off on the stretch and get everything checked out. So we've got one more. If you want to shake it out a little bit, you can. And then just bring their hands back. Again, pushing down and out and pushing that chest forward. And you should really feel it right where your arms connect to the body, maybe in that armpit area just a little bit. But again, stretching shouldn't hurt. It should be that kind of good hurt so good kind of feeling. So just a nice stretch there, getting those muscles nice and loose in that chest area.
3, 2, 1, rest.
Wrist flexors and extensors stretch.
Stretch.
So you're going to put your hands out in front of you, and we'll start with stretching the wrist extensors first. So just going downwards. So with this, if you just hold it this way, you get a lot of stretch. If this is too much stretch, put your fingers out and it's just a little bit less of a stretch. If you want even more of a stretch, you can push in on your hand and curl it in, and that will give you even more of a stretch. So after that, a little 10-second break. These are great if you're working at a desk, especially on a computer for long periods. If you're doing a lot of stuff with your hands, these are really great to do. So now we're going into the wrist flexors. So this time is kind of opposite. If you have your fist in a fist, it's not quite as much of a stretch. But if you open up your hands, you get even more of a stretch and you feel it under there. So again, if you want more stretch than that, you can just do a little pull, a gentle pull on each side, or you can put your hand up on a wall. So any kind of work with your hands a lot, these muscles get really tired, so it's great for these. If you're an artist or a guitar player, that works really well as well. And if you want a little bit more, you can stretch 3 on each side, but this is just to kind of give you an idea. So again, curling down with your fingers to get a lot of stretch, opening them up if you just want a little bit of a stretch. And if you want a little bit of overpressure, you can push it into a wall, or you can just kind of alternate back and forth, giving a little pressure with your other hand that way. But again, this is probably enough if they're sore and tired. Getting that good stretch in there.
2, 1.
And then take a little break. Sometimes you want to shake them out a little bit because it feels like a big stretch in there. And then we're going to do one more going upwards. So hands out, up almost into a stop sign position. So getting that nice stretch. And so when you're up, stretching out the wrist flexors underneath, and then when you're down, you're stretching those wrist extensors up on top. So stop sign, getting that nice stretch in there. Remember, if you don't want quite as much, make a fist. And then more,
3,
and then over pressure.
your timer is complete.
Seated piriformis stretch. So here we go. So with the seated piriformis stretch, bring your foot up and just cross it over almost into a figure 4 position. That's what we call the stretch, a figure 4. And then keep your back straight and just lean forward at your hips. And so you should feel the stretch right in that booty area underneath the leg that you're crossing over. Now, don't curl your back, because if I come over like this, I'm getting less of a stretch than if I keep my back straight. So make sure you keep that back straight and lean forward. So take a little break. Sometimes you might feel some tingling going down the leg, but that might just be that nerve getting pressed a little bit. So crossing over to the other side, keeping that back straight, and just leaning forward. So a lot of times if you have some sciatica issues, that sciatic nerve runs underneath that piriformis muscle. So if you're sitting for long periods at your desk at work, or if you're doing a Netflix marathon or something like that, you might get what we call monkey butt, or that nerve pain going down your leg. So these are some great stretches to do if you're sitting for a long period and maybe your legs start falling asleep a little bit. I think we've all had it happen to us once or twice, and so this is a really good way just to stretch out that muscle and get it going. So crossing over again, going back to the other side, keep that back nice and straight and lean forward. So the stretches that I'm doing here is also a part of an office stretching series that I have, and so there's a whole bunch of different stretches. I kind of go from head to toe, so make sure you watch all the way to the end so you can check out that link there that I have. So again, feeling it kind of in that booty area. Hopefully each time feels a little bit better. You can lean a little bit further and get that stretch even more. And then come on back up, shake it out a little bit, and then get ready to go back to the other side. So again, that piriformis muscle can sometimes cause a lot of problems. So going back into that stretch. People who have that sciatic pain, sometimes it can be coming from your back, but sometimes it really is that nerve just getting pinched at that piriformis being too tight. So this is one that you should, if you don't do any other stretches, if you're sitting for long periods, this is a great one to do. And it's pretty easy because you can do this and still work if you want to. You don't even have to take a break. So I know sometimes it's hard to take that break, but this is one that you don't even have to stop doing your work. You can really continue to do whatever you're doing while you're at your desk. So that's why I really like it. It's easy to do, and if you say you don't have time for it, you don't actually have to take the time for it. You can keep on working. So leaning forward again, and then just leaning in. Some people ask about the foot. Should I flex it? Should I relax it? It doesn't really matter. I personally like you to be completely relaxed. Some people might feel more of a stretch if they flex that foot, but when I'm stretching, I want my whole body to be relaxed. That's how you're going to get a really good stretch. So I like it to be just relaxed, and if you want more, just lean in a little bit more. So stretches shouldn't ever hurt. They shouldn't be pain. It should be that good kind of hurt so good kind of feeling. So if you're leaning in and you're just really hurting, and you're having lots of tingling and numbness going down your leg, try not pushing so hard. Try maybe reset yourself. But if you keep getting a lot of hurt the whole time, then hold off on that stretch, and you should probably go check with a doctor or your physical therapist and see if there's something going on, because the stretching should always just feel really good. And it does. It feels like a very good stretch. Seated hamstring stretch. So with this one, be careful if you have a rolling chair, because you're going to just kind of put both feet out and then get on the edge. With the hamstring stretch seated and standing, make sure you're just bending at your hips and keep your back straight. So just kind of leaning forward here. Some people want to kind of curl their back and try and touch their toes, but I'm not getting quite as much of a stretch. If you keep your back straight, those hamstrings are attached to the butt muscle there, and so if you lean forward keeping your back straight, you're going to get more of a stretch. So taking a little break. If you want to do each one individually, you can. So you're coming forward, just hold, kind of stretch down that way. You can definitely do it that way. But I think sometimes if you're in a hurry and you want to get them stretched out, you can do both and you still get a good stretch with both of those. But again, if this feels uncomfortable, or if you have a rolling chair and it's hard to do, you can stand up and do the exact same stretch. Just make sure you're keeping that back pretty straight and bending more at the hips versus trying to curl down and touch your toes. So again, just take a little break, shake it out, and then get ready to go back in. So again, if you have one that maybe needs a little more of a stretch, you can do one, but doing both of them just saves some time and you still get a good stretch in there. So holding that stretch down. Hamstring stretches are great, especially if you have to sit for a long time, because you're putting a lot of pressure on those hamstrings. If you have some tight knees, great to stretch out the hamstrings because they come down and cross the knees. So when those are tight, a lot of times you have some knee pain, or if you can't straighten out your knee all the way, sometimes that has to do with your hamstrings being tight. So it's good to check those out and stretch them if you need to. Calf stretch. So here's the first 30 seconds. This one you're going to stand up, excuse me, and make sure you use a chair or a countertop to just have something to support yourself and balance on. The side you're going to stretch, put back behind you, and then keep your toes facing forward. The back leg stays down. Keep that heel down and keep that leg straight. And then push the front one forward, holding it for 30 seconds. You want to feel a good stretch, nothing painful, and make sure that heel stays down. These are great stretches. The calves, when they get tired, they get tight, and sometimes it makes it hard to walk. If you're sitting for a long time, they get really tight, and you want to keep the calves moving and stretching. So make sure, again, keep that back heel down and then just lean forward into it. So if you're sitting at your desk working, this is easy to do. You can get up, use your desk to hold on to, and just stretch. So it's really nice. You don't have to have a whole lot of equipment. You don't really have to have anything, because you can stretch without holding on if you want to, but if you just need a little balance, you can hold on to it and just really hold that stretch right there. Especially if you're sitting for long periods, the blood gets down to your feet, you're not moving. Sometimes if it's really long periods, you can be at risk for DVTs, which are really scary. So you want to make sure you keep those legs stretched out and moving, especially the calves, because they work as natural pumps. And so that's really good, because that helps keep that circulation going when you're moving those calf muscles. So really important to stretch them, really important to keep your feet facing forward, not turned out like that. So this is a part of an office series stretching that I'm doing, so make sure you stay till the end to find the link for that. And it's a whole bunch of different stretches from head to toe. All right, and then take that little breath. If you need to shake it out, you can, and then switch back over to the other side. And this is also really good, because even though you have to stand up to do the stretch, if you're sitting for long periods, either at work or if you're doing something at home, if you're doing a marathon of some TV series, you want to get up and move around a little bit, because sometimes, especially if you're at work, you get focused on doing something, and then before you know it, you've been sitting in the same spot for 2 or 3 hours, and that's just really, really bad for your body. So even though this might take some time away from your work, it's really good to get up and move around. Usually about every hour if you can. I know that's sometimes hard to do while you're at work, but it's a really good idea to make sure that you're doing all that. All right, and then heel back again. The more you put your leg back, the better stretch you can get. So if your calves are really, really tight, you can bring it up just a little bit more, because you really want to keep that heel down. If you can't keep your heel down, bring it up. But if you're not feeling a really big stretch, you can put your foot back even further and then really lean into it, and you should feel that stretch through that calf area there. So again, this is really good, not just for the calves and the legs in general, but even if you have some knee pain, the calf muscles come and cross that knee joint. So if you're having some knee pain, this is a great stretch to do, because you think the calves a lot of times people associate that with your feet and your ankles, but it really comes up and crosses that knee as well. So if you're having some knee pain, some knee tightness in there, you definitely want to stretch these as well. So kind of is a great stretch for a little bit of everything. So really leaning into it, keeping that heel down, getting that good stretch. The stretching should never be painful, just a good good hurt. So those were some real-time stretches to get you moved back in the office or just anywhere. So if you'd like to check out some other office series stretches, make sure you click on the link up here. And if you'd like to help support my channel, find out how by clicking up here. And don't forget to subscribe, click down here. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.